Life Behind the Curtains, the podcast where we explore stories of resilience, perseverance, and the courage to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against you. So, I am Jeevan George John. Like many of you, I have faced moments of self doubt, juggling work responsibility and dreams, wondering if I am on the right track. And yet, there are people whose journeys remind us what's possible when you never give up. So, today's guest is one of those people. He went from struggling to learn English in Poland to failing exam multiple times to studying hard, chasing his passion, and eventually delivering a TEDx talk, something that once felt impossible. So, along the way, he also built a corporate career, become a mentor, and discovered how language and communication can transform not just careers but life. Please welcome Maciej Baranowski.
Hello, thank you so much for
Hi.
having me.
So I was checking how to say like welcome in Polish, and I have found that I don't know like I'm pronouncing it right or not. It's something called witami.
Very good. It's
Uh,
witamy.
oh,
Yes, in
okay.
Polish. Witamy. Great.
Thank you. So it's really such an honor to have you here. So tell me how we are feeling today.
Great. I'm feeling very, very nice. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very excited for the podcast, for the interview. I'm happy to answer your questions. I like how you basically introduced me about resilience, about strength. So this is actually what is my driving force in life, to to persevere, to stay resilient, to go for what you believe in. The only small correction, I don't want to correct you because you're doing such a fantastic job in here, is my name. It's Maciej Baranowski.
Good, good, good.
But
So
Polish language is very, very difficult, even for
I
me.
know, I know. So like let's start with your early life and those struggles. So like when I was going through a TEDx speak, you spoken about those negative words you heard growing up. You can't do this, you don't belong here. For many people, so for me, like I came as an international student, I have literally went through a lot of challenges. So for many people, especially those starting something new, those words literally stop them in their tracks. So how do you deal with them during your early stage of your life? And what exactly kept you moving forward?
It's a very good, great question, actually. For me, the most important, driving force behind my mindset was the vision of me winning, was me standing on the actual TEDx stage and speaking English to people. When I watched my first TEDx performance, I was in high school, I was a
Mm.
teenager, and it was the moment I decided to study English, to use language as a tool that will help me to communicate, to express my ideas, to write, to speak, to present my, I would say, views, myself to people. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with English. I thought I want to be an actor or a speaker, somebody who will be on the stage, But
Got
seeing
it.
TEDx made me really yearn for this stage, like be the confident speaker I mentioned in my speech. So the vision, if you see, okay, this is very important to everybody. If you see yourself in the one place you want to
And
achieve, the stage, the TEDx stage, and you see yourself there, you will get there because you can imagine yourself there.
exactly.
If I could imagine myself on the stage, I found myself on this very
Yeah.
stage. And you know what is funny, actually? I didn't mention it in my speech, but I imagined myself on the TEDx stage with the microport, like this kind of microphone, and speaking English about my university adventure and wearing white t-shirts. And it happened exactly in the way I
Wow.
imagined. You
Wow.
know, Visualization, vision. If you see
Yeah.
yourself being there, achieving the goal, you will
Exactly.
find yourself there. So
Got it.
basically, always imagine yourself already winning. It will
Got
get you
it.
there. Yeah.
Got it. That's we call the power of manifestation, right?
Yes.
Always manifest the right things. And also learning English. I know like it was a huge challenge for you. Like for me also, like this is my second language. It's always a huge challenge to learn a second language. So can you share what kept you motivated during those early failures when people laughed, when exams were failed repeatedly, and what others can take away when they feel behind?
It's a good question here as well. Basically, I faced criticism when I was a student of English. I mean, studying English philology, English studies at
Mhm.
university. I was hearing the negative voices, comments,
Yeah.
laughs every single day at university. Could you imagine that? Every single day, somebody told me, you would not make it. Oh my gosh, you sound terrible. Your English is terrible. You don't speak well. You speak like a Polish person. I am Polish person. Hello, hello, yeah. But
Yeah.
I've heard it so many times. But I asked myself this question, Maciej, what would you do if you know you would make it? Would you try or would you give up? If you knew you would make it. And I imagine myself actually passing the exams, getting my degree, and using it as a tool in my life. And that's why I think I persevered and I didn't give up. Because when I got 8 retake exams, 8, it's not even, it's not a myth, it's a fact.
And
I found myself looking at my records and I was like, Maciej, you lost the first year. For sure. There isn't a situation you would make it. But in the middle of summer, before my retakes in September, because we in Poland, I think in most countries, I believe, we have
mhm.
the retake exams in September. Yes, am I
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I got like a few months to prepare for that. But with 8 retakes, you really question if it makes sense, if you shouldn't start again. But I decided to take it. And you know what? I passed. I passed those exams. And this is one of the miracles I cannot even explain today.
Wow.
But I think I found myself in this situation and I answered this question. If you know you would pass, would you try or not? And I was like, if I knew I would pass, I would go for that. And I did
Exactly.
go for that.
Yeah.
I also
Got it.
imagined
Got it.
myself not only passing the exams, but getting back to my life in Poznań, where I was studying. It
Got
wasn't
it.
my hometown because I moved from a smaller town to relatively big town in Poland. So I changed towns, went to a bigger town. So I also
Mhm.
imagined my life like in Poznań when I'm back at the place I've been living for as an independent, guy, 20 something years old. And I was like, I want this life back. I want this life back. So if I knew I would make it, I would try. And I tried and I passed and I got back my life. I stayed at university and I continued my journey basically. So answering your question, answer the question to yourself. What would you do if you knew you would make it? What would you do if you knew you would make it? Yeah.
You'll go for it. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Exactly.
Everybody would go for that.
Yeah. 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 Got
Yeah.
it.
If you knew you would become a world champion, like many of my friends from Toastmasters, they would go for that, of course. Yeah. So do it. Yeah.
Got it. From what you have said, I can clearly see that you didn't started with that talent. You developed it over time. So, what kind of mindset should someone adopt if they are starting from zero but have, big dreams?
Okay. This is actually persistency. You have to be very persistent. Consistency, actually. Consistency.
Consistency, exactly.
So be consistent. But everybody tells you be consistent. Like
Mhm.
it's easy to say. The problem nowadays, and the problem also I faced, is the so-called procrastination.
Yeah.
We are overstimulated, and we shouldn't be blamed for that. Take a look. We got social media. We got lots of small reels, videos, content all over the place. It's so easy to get distracted, don't you think?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
easy to get distracted. So that's why it's easy to procrastinate. It's easy to postpone doing things. It's easy to not be consistent because we have so many distractors in our life, and we shouldn't be blamed for that. It's how it works right now, right? So what did I do to start from zero and go to hero when it comes to English? For me, is actually doing things even if you are not confident. Entering the room when we have like professors who are listening to you attentively during your exam on English, and they know and see and hear every single mistake you make. They're looking for mistakes, not for good things you do, but for mistakes. So they're waiting. Oh, when he will make a mistake, and looking. at you all the time and counting on your mistakes. Entering the room anyway with no confidence, with anxiety and uncertainty, and doing it anyway. I had no confidence in speaking English in front of these specialists, but I did it anyway. I didn't know what would be the outcome, but I had my vision. So it was a driving force, you know? Also, sometimes you need to be a little bit delusional. And what I mean here, if you are delusional, you're kind of blindly following your dreams, your plans, the vision you have in your mind, and you do not necessarily listen to those technically, I would say, technically, I would say, right voices around you, like those straightforward opinions. Maciej, take a look, you don't have talents. You will not make it in 1 year. It's impossible for the human being to speak like a native speaker in 1 year with your skills. They were right. It is impossible. It is. But if I listened to those, that was the word I was missing, rational opinions around me, and I
Mhm.
didn't find space for myself in my mind, this delusional space, I can make it anyway, I would definitely not succeed, you know? So listening to these seemingly rational decisions, rational opinions of your friend is good, but when it comes to your dreams, you need to overwhelm people. You need to find a dream. They will not believe you can make it, and don't listen. Be a little bit delusional. They will tell you, Maciej, it's not for you. You will not make it. You don't
Yeah.
have talent, skills. Listen to your inner voice anyway. They were right. They were very rational. But the delusional part of me kept me going. Yeah. Plus, doing things with no confidence. Because what I also noticed, sometimes we can wake up and we have no motivation because of many reasons. Maybe we are overworked. Maybe we are stressed. Maybe we are anxious. Anxiety comes into play on many occasions, right? But you just sit down at your computer, take your book, and even if you don't have motivation, you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel well, you accept those emotions. Okay, today I feel terrible. I feel I will fail, but I'm sitting down and doing it anyway. So if you accept the variety of emotions in your mind, that someday you are happy, someday you can be sad, someday you are anxious, someday you don't even know what you're doing, but you do it anyway, despite the emotions, because you welcome all the emotions, you will succeed. So let me maybe summarize what I told you. So first of all, is doing stuff without confidence, entering the room full of experts and still doing your job. Second of all, be a little bit delusional. If everybody is laughing at you and giving you rational decisions, rational opinions, rational tips, you are like, okay, I will make it anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, make your delulu true lulu. And last but not least, accept that you will not be always happy, always joyful, always ready to do stuff, to be positive. Even if you are negative, do it anyway, because all the emotions you have in your mind are good. And we can be happy when we are anxious. So we can be happy when we are facing the anxiety, uncertainty of what will happen. We still can find happiness. So these are my tips for how to persevere from zero to hero, I would say. Yeah.
Exactly.
So do things without confidence. Second of all, was get a little bit delusional, and last but not least, accept all the emotions in your mind.
That's nice. That's so inspiring. It's like something related to a quote, like it's not the destination, it's all about the journey, the small
Yes.
consistent action you take every
And you
day.
know what?
So
What happens sometimes when I made my TEDx performance, and I was
yeah.
so happy when I performed. There was one moment in my TEDx when I got this, I would say, I call it speech moment, when I was telling people, take up the space, speak
Yeah,
up, and assume your
exactly.
identity. It was the moment. It was the moment I had been dreaming for my entire life ever since I saw my first TEDx performance. But actually, for my entire life, even when I was born, I think, I believe. And you know what I mean? It was the moment, and I was so happy. But when I came back to my hometown because TEDx was in Bydgoszcz. I live in Poznań, so it's a different city in Poland. When I came back home, I was so happy, so energetic. Next day, I got my Toastmasters contest, and I was so happy I smashed it.
I remember. Yeah, yeah.
I
I remember
didn't
your post.
even prepare, to be honest, that much. I was prepared, but I didn't prepare that much because I
Yeah,
was, focused on TEDx. It was one day
exactly.
before, so I kind of reshifted my focus, my attention to TEDx performance. But anyway, I was so happy, but it lasted for a few days, and then I was like, Maciej, you already made your dream come true, and the journey is over. And what now? So this
No,
is, I love what you said. Enjoy the journey.
exactly.
Enjoy the journey, because when you made it work, when you made your dream come true, you will miss the journey at some
Yeah,
point after that. Yes.
yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. The next section is about your TEDx journey, actually. So what first drew you to TEDx? What made you decide I want to be in that stage?
I want to be at that stage.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, when I was a teenager, I decided to work on my English a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
professionally. Like, the lessons at school were not enough for me. I wanted to qualify for the university to study English in
Oh.
English, obviously. So it's all
Mhm.
in English. So to qualify, you need to get good grades,
Yeah.
and you need to spend your entire, like, early 20s speaking, learning English, studying in English all the time. So I knew I had to progress very fast. My
Oh.
level in high school was not enough for
Mm.
my goals, my dreams, right? So I decided to take some additional classes at the language school. And during one of the exercises, our teacher, Miss Agata, who was my very first inspiration in life, and she was absolutely fantastic, passionate about learning, teaching, and she was amazing. Her energy was just very contagious in a positive way. And she showed me TEDx performance. And I was like, what is TEDx? What is TED Talk? TEDx, TED Talk, And I saw those speakers and I was like, I want to be like them. It was the moment. It was the moments. At some point in my life, I kind of forgot about my dream. But then when I was at university, I got this aha moment when I realized, don't give up, be the guy from the stage. So that's why I followed. But when it comes to my last TEDx performance, I learned that there is another edition of TEDx, and I decided to first become the mentor to help the speakers to prepare. And
Oh,
the organizer of the edition, when I was first mentor at TEDx Toruń, also let me know that they are looking for speakers for the next edition for a
oh.
different city. And I was like, okay, I was a mentor here. Maybe it's time for being a speaker. And I sent my application. I was working on that very, very hard, presenting my idea, what I want to share with people. And they liked it. And I was one of the first speakers to be accepted as the speaker in Bydgoszcz. And that's how I got into TEDx during my last performance. So yes, basically I sent my application form first for the mentor. I performed as the mentor. I love the process. I helped other speaker, and there was a moment I became the speaker.
Wow.
But one more thing, it wasn't the first time I was applying for TEDx. I've been applying for TEDx multiple of times, for multiple times, and I was rejected. I was rejected over and over again. And once there was a moment I was applying for a different city in Poland, I think it was Lublin, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, don't apply, they will reject you again. And
Mhm.
then I was like, okay, you don't have motivation. Be delusional and apply anyway.
Anyway,
This is
yeah,
exactly what I told you before.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have motivation, confidence, but be delusional, apply anyway, accept those emotions of uncertainty, just send the application. And I did. And I didn't qualify. But when
Oh,
I did it for the next time for the mentor and then speaker, I made it. So I just
yeah,
applied multiple of times and I finally made my cut. So basically, keep on doing that.
exactly. And before your TEDx talk, like, what was one of your biggest fear you had? How did you overcome it?
My fear,
Yeah.
my fear was, okay, I will be honest with you. I wanted my speech to be original,
Oh,
but TED Talk has, like, I would say, thousands of speeches already. So lots of speakers performed. They were talking about very similar topics. like
Exactly.
mine, about languages, about being resilient, about persevering in life, going on and so on. And I was thinking maybe my speech will not be original, maybe people will not like it, maybe it will not be different from other speakers, other speeches, other performances. But then I realized, Maciej, but you are telling your story. Nobody knows your story as well as you do. Of course, you present some idea about rewiring, changing your life because of the second language, transforming your life because of the second language. But the story, the storytelling of a boy who wanted to speak is yours.
Exactly.
It's not a copy, it's
Yeah.
authentic. So that's my biggest fear was basically that somebody can tell me, okay, it's not different from any other speakers. I want it to be different. I want it to be distinctive. So I want it to be just original. So maybe originality, that they will compare me to others, was one of my fears. But the life showed me that it wasn't the case in here, because the speech was very well received, and I'm very happy about the performance. And I felt it's different. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mine. It's
I
mine.
also
Yeah.
felt that same. It was really nice, to be honest. So, did you have any mentors who guided you to TEDx? So, how did they influence your growth? Any mentors?
Yeah, I got a mentor. Jerzy is my mentor.
Oh,
We
good.
are also working professionally,
Oh,
not only at TEDx but also during different projects.
mhm.
And this is a very special person to me. We also talked today. We met at Toastmasters actually, so we are like from the same community, I would say. And Jerzy is always helping me with different projects, like inviting me to different initiatives.
Mhm.
And he's the person who believes in me, and I can tell that for sure. Like he sees my potential, and he got this kind of mentor vibe that he can tell you one sentence, one word, and you feel like you are flying, like
Exactly.
you really are motivated, because he got this special something that makes you believe in yourself even more.
Mhm.
So definitely he helps me a lot. However, with all due respect to my mentor and his expertise and knowledge and experience, because he has been TEDx speaker twice already,
Oh, oh.
so he got some prior experience regarding being a speaker at TEDx himself.
Mhm.
But I will be honest with you guys, despite the fact that I love my mentor, he's absolutely fantastic. I totally changed my speech. Yes, he gave me this courage to believe in my message. But at the very last moment, I got this question to myself: should the speech be in English or maybe in Polish?
Oh,
My
okay.
mentor was for making that in Polish. I was thinking about English because it has always been my dream to do it in English.
Yeah,
I can reach a wider audience. You can listen to me and understand what I'm talking about.
exactly. Yeah,
Maybe this podcast would not happen
yeah,
if it hadn't
yeah.
been for English.
Yeah.
I do believe so. And a few days before the contest, before the TEDx performance, one of my other friend, who is an expert on the American pronunciation, an English teacher, Hania, her name is Hania Stawinska, she told me, Maciej, if you dream about speaking in English, do it in English. And
Yeah.
few days before TEDx, I changed my speech from Polish to English, and I totally did something opposite that my mentor Jerzy previously advised me to do.
Mhm.
So I listened to myself. I listened to my heart. I also made some kind of changes into the structure of the speech, but it showed me that the version I presented in the end was the real version I wanted to always share with people.
Oh,
So listen to your mentor, and this is important to have people like Jerzy, but you should first of all listen to yourself. If you dream about something, you can sometimes break the rules and do it your way. And this is what I did, because I followed my heart in the end. I switched the language to English, from Polish
yeah.
to English, and I eventually changed some elements of the structure, especially the hook at the beginning, when
Mhm.
I'm telling the words, sentences, and phrases I've heard, like you cannot make it, you're not good enough, you're not worth it, and so on. That's how I started,
Yeah.
to do it in a way that it will show who I am. So
Right.
I changed the speed because I followed my heart. So having a mentor is amazing and very
Yeah.
important. But in the end, your mentor should give you space to do it as your heart tells you.
Exactly. That's a nice response. And also, like you already talked about originality of the speech, but more than that, looking back, what was one of that hardest moment in preparing for TEDx, and how did you navigate those challenges?
Oh, this is a great question. This is an
Yeah.
amazing question. And it happens also for me when I'm preparing for the speech contests.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
is always a moment of doubt. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how experienced, how self-confident, how resilient, mentally strong you are. You have a moment when you are doubting if the material, I mean the speech, the idea, the purpose of your presentation makes sense. It will really influence people and encourage them to listen. Not only if it's original or not, but if it does make impact on people, if it makes sense, if the message is clear, if the message will make a difference in the world. And there is always this moment of uncertainty when you're doubting yourself. You're thinking, Maciej, it doesn't make sense. Who will listen to you? You should totally change your message, change your speech, your entire speech. You know, there are also moments when you doubt yourself if you're worth the stage. I got it as well. But then I realized how many people have already told me that my story inspired them, how many positive comments I have already received before I performed, and I realized, Maciej, there is somebody who needs to hear it. Maybe there is another student, another Maciej in the world who went to study, who needs to listen to you, maybe hear your story to move on, to continue, to see that it's possible to make it anyway. So I was thinking about it, and then I realized, Maciej, you have doubts, you're anxious, you want to change the speech. There was even a moment I want to resign. Yes, you are the first person I'm telling that. There was even a moment I wanted to resign from TEDx, and then I realized, no, we have to go anyway. There must be Maciej who wants to listen to your story. Why? Because you have been there, and there is certainly somebody else who is also in a similar situation. Do it not for yourself, for branding, promotion, and all the benefits of being a TEDx speaker. Do it for people who need to listen to you, who need to see and watch the story. So it helped me in the moments of doubts, anxiety, and uncertainty, and moments of resignation that happened to me, to do something for others, to present the message to help other
Mhm.
young people.
Got it. And also, like when I was going through your profile, like was researching your profile. So you worked as a journalist, executive assistant, internal trainer. There are a lot of roles I have seen. Like, so you have got a lot of corporate experience as well. So, like, my one question is like many professionals feel that they can't step up or be heard. So, what exactly this is the same question I have asked uh, in my previous guest as well. So, what role does public speaking play in excelling in a corporate environment since you worked in corporate fields as well?
Oh, that's a great question. What role does a public speaking play
Yeah,
in the corporate environment?
corporate.
That's a great
Yeah.
question. This role will set you free.
Mm,
What I mean, it will really show you who wants to work with you, who doesn't. It will show you who is afraid of your potential and doesn't want you to speak up, and who wants to get inspired by you. Because in the corporate environment, with all due respect, I had been working at corporation for 4 years. It's a long time, to be honest. For somebody who doesn't like this kind of environment, I don't want to be the hamster in the wheel, yeah, however we call it, yeah, working paper job, all the paperwork every single day. It has some pluses if you like stability, and of course, but not for me. I'm not this kind of person. But I had been working there. And when I became the public speaker, I won my first contest, international contests. And I started working on my professional brand as a public speaker in my local community. I realized people in the corporation, in the corporate environment, were not really into that. They didn't like the idea of somebody being outspoken in the team, somebody who set the boundaries, somebody who can speak up, somebody who doesn't stay silent when something is going wrong in the team. somebody who is able to articulate his needs and present some new ideas freely. So for me, it set me free because it showed me that my manager was not really that much into what I'm doing. They felt kind of threatened by me. I could feel that. And it created this kind of toxicity at some point in my career. And that's why I decided to leave the corporation and focus on my own journey as a public speaker, which of course is much more difficult because you are on your own. Public speaking in my country, Poland, is not that popular yet. So I'm doing something totally crazy, something many people do not understand. But that's the beauty of it. When I started my business in 2023, almost 3 years ago, almost, I will have my anniversary in 2 weeks, my third anniversary. And somebody asked me, Maciej, but how would you make it? This is recession. This is companies are like firing people, downsizing, and so on. There are lots of layoffs in the world. And I was like, I don't know how I will make it. But that's the beauty of it. The beauty is that I don't know how, but I know I will. So this is how I can answer this question. How will it help you or will it affect your corporate job? It will set you free. But of course, here we are talking about some toxic places, yeah? When it comes to like corporations that value this skill, it can give you lots of benefits. So definitely looking at the positive working environments, and not toxic ones, but positive ones, the ones that appreciate those who can speak, you will definitely advance very fast. You will have lots of opportunities presented to you, and you will be acknowledged. So you can definitely advance faster than when you stay silent in your position, right? But it depends on the working place. There are some toxic working places. I experienced one of those. Yeah. And there are also those positives. I'm very open to talk about this experience because I think people should speak up about it. Not complain. I'm not complaining. I'm very happy I survived and I won. And I set myself free in the end. But we also should talk about it. But in the positive working places nowadays with AI, being a speaker will definitely help you a lot to grow faster, to get a better position. Companies very often are presenting their speakers with opportunities. So now you can start like getting more interesting tasks like running meetings, conducting training sessions. So you can slowly find your way up the ladder in many positive working places when you are appreciated for your skills. And toxic, it can be a threat. But the beauty of being a public speaker in the corporate world is that in toxic places, you will set yourself free, and in the good places, you will grow. In both cases, you go up.
And I know like you haven't created these talents like in a day or something, but can you really talk about those daily habits or mindset? What were those small action helped you to stay consistent every day, even when you thought like the results seemed far away? Like I know like you had those daily habits like put forward. So what were those, if you can say about that? Yeah.
Great question. Daily habits. There is one habit I always cultivate in my life. I think I mentioned that kind of before. Even if you wake up and you don't like the day, if you feel it's not your day, you don't want to go for this meeting and speak in front of people, or take this additional speaking gig, or go to this conference, or go for this client meeting, or meet this person, or go for this personal meeting with opportunity to meet more people, for example, some networking events. My habit is, if you don't want to go, if you don't feel like going, if you think it's not your day, take your best suit, best clothes, put on a smile and go.
Yeah.
Really, go and do it. You will never know what can happen. And you will never know what opportunities you can receive from your life if you show up. So my first habit is to show up anyway.
Yeah.
Show up to your clients, show up to your job, to your work, to the meeting you were invited. That's the first thing. I'm waking up and I'm like, okay, Maciej, that's not your day. You don't feel like doing it, but put on a brave face and show up. Show up for everything you basically are supposed to do that day, regardless of how you feel. Second habit I always have is basically engaging yourself into some kind of not necessarily gym or sport activity in the morning, but for example, listening to good music,
Mm-hmm.
kind of stimulating your imagination, thinking about your future wins thanks to music, imagining yourself in the situation you will find yourself soon. So imagining yourself in the win, you start your day with that. You wake up, you are like, I will show up. And before
Yeah.
that, you will listen to some good music. At least it works in my case very well, that I change kind of it changes my mood.
Mm.
And last but not least, speaking loud, out
Mm.
loud to yourself,
Yeah.
because it's great to talk to an expert. But
Got it.
yeah, put on the loudspeaker mode. Like
Uh,
Maciej, you will make it. You don't have to affirm anything in front of the mirror. But there is one sentence I always repeat to myself every single day. I will make it work. I do it in English, by the way. I will make it work. Like I have these thoughts. Oh, tomorrow is this important meeting. I'm not ready yet. And then there's the thought. I will make it work. And you say it out loud, and you see how your entire attitude is changing if you are the person who will make it work, if you say it out loud. So summarizing your question, habits, daily habits. First of all, you show up anyway,
yeah.
so you approach your tasks that they need to be done. You need to check the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to go through your checklist, mental checklist. You show
Mm-hmm.
up for the meeting, you use the opportunities you have that day, regardless of how you feel. Second of all, listening to some uplifting music, possibly dancing, possibly kind of energizing yourself. This is very good. And last but not least, put on the loudspeaker mode. Tell
That's
to
a
yourself, I will make it work out loud.
that's a nice point. Put the loudspeakers on.
Yes, talk to an expert, to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And also like your story like shows the power of mentors and self-learning. But how can someone create their own support system if they don't have it naturally? Kind of support
Mhm.
system. Do you have a kind of support system? If someone don't have, like how they can create it?
It's a very good question here.
Yeah.
Like, you mean you don't have support system when you start, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There were moments, I will be honest with everybody here and you, of course, that there was nobody
Mm.
to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to blame my friends and family because I love them so much. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Love them very much and respect all of them. But there were moments when I was only like totally by myself with my dream of
Yeah.
speaking, of teaching, of doing what I always wanted to do. And you have only yourself sometimes to carry on with your goals. So you need to take care of the relationship you have with yourself, you know? And sometimes when I doubt myself or there isn't support around you, you don't have this healthy support system in life, you should look at yourself as if you were your best friend and tell yourself those words you wanted to hear from others around you. Imagine your perfect friends. What would you like to hear from your perfect friends? What words? I believe in you. You're worth it. You will make it. I like the way you speak, talk, look. Imagine this friend who is always there for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have those people because it's difficult to maintain forged relationships these days. It
Yeah.
can be challenging for many of us, right? If you go to study to a different city and so on. But be this friend to yourself and tell those words, those phrases you want to listen from your best possible friends. And if you find it in yourself and you will keep on, keep going anyway. This is the most important. I don't want to sound like this kind of typical motivational speaker who is like, yeah, do it yourself. I'm not this kind of person. But once I told myself, Maciej, I want a friend who would tell you, I'm with you, you will make it, who is cheering up from the audience, like, winking to you, yes, you're doing great. Be this person to yourself, because
Yeah.
very often we sabotage ourselves. We have very negative self-talk. It's
Exactly.
also okay sometimes, because sometimes we are sending signals to ourselves that we are stressed or we are anxious. It's also fine to experience those emotions, but in the end, choose the friend who is the supportive one,
Yeah.
not the one who is sabotaging. We always have those two voices.
Yeah.
Choose the one that pushes you forwards. So be a good friend to yourself, because if you have no supporting system, no support system, it's all about you. If you can motivate yourself and persevere, there is nothing you cannot achieve, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Motivate yourself. Yeah. So I know like all the question like was kind of serious. Now let's get into some fun part, especially regarding the TEDx. So we want to know about the behind the scenes moments. So what exactly was going through your mind in the last 30 seconds before you were stepping onto that stage?
Oh, great question. Last 30 seconds. Okay, what was in my mind? I was
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
I was very grateful. Grateful to myself, to people who helped me, to the entire process I went through. But as I told you, there was a moment, I call this the moment, when I told those words, those phrases, like I addressed people. I had in mind this Maciej I used to be, who should listen to, who should hear this story. So there was a moment I told, speak up, take up the space, and assume your identity,
Yeah.
because the world needs you in your essence. This it was the phrase, it was the key phrase of my speech, and I really wanted to make it sound strong. Be absolutely present in the moment when I'm saying that to the audience. And what I liked was that I really felt I showed the power, the strength, the resilience while presenting this particular phrase in my speech, this address to the audience. So for me, when I was on the stage, I really felt that's the moment. So my last 30 seconds were the most amazing moment of my life, when I felt that I made it, made it the way I imagined, the way I wanted it to be.
Got it.
So yeah, that definitely happiness, definitely I felt really in control. I
Yeah.
was looking at the clock in the corner, so I knew I made it in time.
Got
So I made it in 18 seconds. So I didn't exceed the time, but most importantly, my message went through, was passed on to the audience in the way I wanted to. So powerfully, with confidence, with resilience, with self-belief and conviction. So that's why I was very happy during the last 30 seconds of the speech. Happiness, yeah.
it. And also, not only regarding the titles, but what scares you more, forgetting your lines or mispronouncing a word, or someone in the audience looking too serious? What scares you more?
What scares me more? Okay, to be honest, what scared me the most, I wasn't that much scared.
Hmm.
I was very thrilled. I think the biggest fear we have during the rehearsals, when we have lots of our uncertainty sometimes, and this kind of anxiety, if the speech makes sense, if I'm prepared enough. Very often when I talk to all my colleagues, public speakers, they tell me I never feel fully prepared.
Mm.
For me, as a perfectionist who needs to be well prepared, who just cannot imagine a performance that is not polished, not rehearsed
Yeah.
well, I always feel I didn't do enough.
Mm.
I didn't do enough job, enough work.
Oh,
And I was a little bit scared I could do better. But it wasn't my main fear. My main fear was that I couldn't see the audience that well, because the light was on my face.
yeah,
So I couldn't reconnect in a way I really wanted, like seeing the faces,
makes sense. Yeah.
seeing the reactions to my
Mm.
questions, to what I'm saying. And also one of my fears, except from, of course, like seeing the audience from the stage because of the lighting and everything, was that the language can be a barrier. Because I
Mm.
was only one of two speakers who decided to speak English, not Polish.
Oh,
The
that's
entire event was in
that's nice.
Polish. And as I
Oh.
told you, I kind of became a rebel because I didn't listen to my mentor who advised me to do it in Polish language. And I was not sure if the audience would understand a speech that can be complex
Mm.
because it's about bilingualism, multilingualism. There is a kind of psychological, I would say, specific vocabulary, like specialized vocabulary. So it's not easily understood by people who mostly speak Polish and English is their second language. So one of my fears was that I couldn't connect with the audience because of the lights. I'm not prepared that well as I wanted to be, and that they may not understand me
Got it.
because of the language barrier. I wanted
Mm.
the message to sound really strong and to see the reactions. And during the speech, when I saw that some people are laughing and some people are nodding their heads, I even mentioned that in my speech. Oh, you're nodding the head, great. So it showed me that okay, they're good. They understand you. You can sense it. The most important for the speaker is to sense,
Mm.
to experience if audience like you or not.
Yeah.
And I got this impression it resonated despite different language, despite the fact I didn't see all the faces and all the audience, and despite the fact I got those doubts. Am I prepared good enough, well enough for this? Did I do enough work? So despite all of that, I could overcome this fear on the stage because I felt it resonated.
Got it. And how many times did you rehearse your TEDx talk, and how many times did it still change? Have you
Oh my gosh.
kept on changing?
It has been changing. Oh my gosh. It had been changing so many times,
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not a speaker who likes to memorize every single line.
Mm.
And my advice to all of you is not to do it. Don't memorize. Even if you are if you are, for example, a Toastmasters community and you are preparing for the speech contest, don't memorize every single line. It's great when you have this room for improvisation, for changing the path a little bit during the speech on the spot. It's also great when you have the presentation for TEDx. So if you are preparing for your TEDx speech, make a presentation. If you don't like
Yeah.
making presentations in PowerPoint or Canva, ask your friends and expert who can help you with that. Because presentation will help you to keep the structure of the speech, present the data, present the names of the authorities, psychologists, experts you are using in your research for TEDx speech. So it's great to have the presentation, but treat your presentation like a skeleton, not the text you read. Okay, so definitely for me when I was preparing, presentation was very useful tool. I'm talking about it, maybe it sounds obvious, but I didn't like to present a speech with the presentation before TEDx. I prefer to do it, like uh, from my memory. I never like really presented with the presentation unless it was some corporate event and I was supposed to present some data or maybe run some event possibly. But still, I usually don't like to present with presentation. But for the TEDx, I made it and it helped me a lot. So make the presentation that will be your skeleton, only the structure of your speech. Don't memorize the line because it will make this process very challenging, almost unbearable to memorize every single line from the 18-minute speech. Don't do it. If you are talking about the topic you like, you feel you're an expert on, you don't need to memorize every single word. You can put all the information, data, names, research, titles in the presentation, but only these elements. And the rest is basically you knowing the topic, knowing the theme, being present on the stage. And what I can advise you is actually you can possibly only memorize the ending, the first sentence, and the last sentence. And this is what I did on the stage. I memorized only the hook when I started, and I was like rehearsing the hook. Like, you can't make it. You will not succeed. Yeah, it was like this. So I memorized the hook. I practiced it a lot before my performance, and I memorized the last few sentences, the punchline. And I was practicing only those two elements. The rest was based on the presentation and on me knowing what I'm talking about. So, all things considered, answering the question, don't memorize the entire text. Use the presentation only as the skeleton to keep the structure. Memorize the hook and the punchline. What was the question, by the way?
So it was the same question. Like I was talking, like how many times you prepare the speech? Like
How many times? Yeah,
yeah,
but I told you more about the process I prepared, how I
yeah,
prepared for the speech. But how many times I cannot really tell
yeah. I
you.
know, I know.
It's no. Maybe I will answer this way because I want to be as detailed as possible. Um, how many times? I think I can answer it in this way. It doesn't matter how many times. It matters that you prepare, you rehearse with the audience, and you can enrich your next versions of your speech with the adjustments you received as your feedback. So
Yeah,
basically, when I presented the speech for the first time, I was not presenting it to myself at my place, to the mirror. I went to the audience, live audience, in the auditorium. I told them I would practice my TEDx speech. So I want you to look at the particular aspects of my presentation, like purpose, body language, delivery parts, and so on and so forth. And if the message is sounding strong enough. And I was preparing it in front of the live audience. I didn't practice that much in my own place. You know what I mean? I was practicing with the live audience. So it's not how many times you say it, it's more about the way you rehearse. Rehearse with real people in front of you and ask questions. How did you like it? Was it a TEDx material? Did you follow it easily? What would you improve? Yeah. So this is it's not about how many times. It's about how you rehearse.
and I know like the time is already coming down. So like one final question, like
No, don't find that question. I want to talk more.
yeah, for sure. Like we will talk about for sure. So like uh I just want to ask, like for those struggling with confidence or starting fresh in a new country like me or any other field, what will be that one advice would you give?
Mhm. For those struggling with fear and confidence, the one advice is that you will always feel fear and you will always lack some confidence in life. My only advice is to show up,
Yeah.
not necessarily to go to the place, into the room, but to show up for yourself. And I always think about the little boy, not even the boy I mentioned in the speech, but about the little kid I used to be, who for some reason was born into this world as a healthy kid with legs, with hands, and my existence matters. And I'm doing it for this kid. So when I lack confidence and I have lots of doubts, I'm thinking about 3-year-old Maciej, who for some reason is a part of this world. And it helps me a lot. It gives me confidence. Like thinking about your inner kid, you know? And as I told you before, have, visualize you winning.
Yeah.
Show up even if you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm.
And do things anyway, despite the way you feel that day. Accept all those negative emotions. They are part of you. We are living in the world that wants us to desensitize, like to get away from the negative emotions. We need those emotions, those negative emotions in our life, because that's how we live, how we experience life. So answering your question in one simple piece of advice, I would go for do it for this little boy, this little sweet boy who used to be. He deserves everything. He or she deserves everything, depending on who you are. But imagine this: if you are a girl, a beautiful lady, imagine this little girl, this little boy used to be, and just do it for them, Because what I like about kids have lots of confidence.
Yeah.
They're not asking for permission. They're loud, they're crying, they're telling the truth, you know?
Yeah.
We kind of acquire those elements of ours, I would say, we kind of, based on our experiences later on, we become more experienced, sometimes less confident, sometimes more scared. So that's why always get back to the roots, to the little kid who is not afraid of anything.
I
Because
see.
this kid would go for this dream, would be loud, would speak up, would go and do it anyway. Because they don't know that we can't. They think we can and everything, can do everything. So do it for this kid, because they deserve everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's nice. So now we are moving into a rapid fire section. Like I've just prepared few questions. So I just want to ask you, and you have to answer that in one word. Okay, all those answers.
One word or
One word.
sentence?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
let's do it.
so can I ask the first question?
Yes.
So success is when you finally
Once again, please.
success is when you have to fill it.
Smile.
Smile. Okay. Are you a sunrise person or a midnight person?
Once again.
Are you a sunrise person or a midnight person?
Night.
Night. Oh, okay. Good.
Night person. Yes, I
Okay.
love night. I'm the night owl. I love to read, to write, to listen to some speeches, preparing, making my speeches at night. Yeah.
That's good. And this is a personal question. So, what is that one thing you want to achieve before 2026 ends?
Oh, that's a great. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I should have already known, what I want to achieve by the end of 2026. I think I have this one particular goal, and I was talking about it today. I want to organize my own TEDx event.
Wow.
We
Hmm.
can use it as a promotion right now, but yes, I want to, by the end of 2026, specifically on the 28th of November, so almost 1 year after my TEDx performance in 2025, on November 29th, I want to be the host, the organizer of the TEDx performance in Poznań. And believe me or not, after our meeting, after our podcast, I want to go and finish because I just started today, finish my application form for the organizer. And of course, I would like to invite you as the
For sure.
guest for my show. It will be in Poland, in Poznań, and I
Yeah.
invite all of our viewers, of course, to join me there. Yes, so this is one specific goal I want to achieve. I wouldn't be myself if I also didn't tell you that I want to become the world champion this year, 2026. I do believe in that. I do believe I would do it one day. I do believe that maybe that's the year. I always
Yeah.
telling myself it's the year to win, but I think this is the year, because I've experienced also lots of adversities right now, and always when you have like challenging time in life, it shows you, it tries to tell you something good is coming. So look at this like preparation for something bigger. So I think so. Yeah. So answering your question to be specific, I think being the TEDx organizer, organizing a TEDx event. Yes.
Got it. So the next question is like, this is a fun part. Your speaking journey is like which animal and why that animal?
Uh-huh. Which animal?
Yeah.
Now I want to be original. My speaking cat.
Oh, okay.
Cat. I know many people don't like cats. of course, I don't want to overgeneralize. I didn't like cats as well, but I think that cats teach us how to live. Cats are smart, intelligent, unapologetic. If they crash your vase or some kind of plate or something expensive, they're like, that's your fault. You shouldn't have put it there. It's your fault, human. But yeah, this is funny. And cats are also the ones that don't give easy access to people.
Yeah.
They have their own roots. If they don't know how to do something, they will find their way anyway. They will make it work anyway. And that's how I like cats. They are very, I would say, selective to who they allow into their lives. They have their own roots and they always find their way. So that's why I would say that, yeah, cat. But a good cat, a nice cat. Maybe a red cat, I don't know.
Yeah. So the next question. So what did corporate life taught you that school never did?
Corporate life was very similar to school.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have noticed lots of similarities because they wanted to put you in the box. At least for me, it was like putting you in the box. I wanted to answer you one word, yeah?
Yeah.
One word. Okay, I'm going for the story again. Sorry. Okay, one word corporate life taught me school didn't teach me. One word.
That's fine if
Okay.
you want to explain it. That's fine. Completely
Okay,
fine.
so maybe I will give you the words
Yeah.
and then explain it, okay, if I
Yeah.
can. Okay. One word that corporate life taught me, I think resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Being resilient. So one word, resilience. What I mean, you need to carry on regardless of the atmosphere in your team, regardless the fact if the team understands what you do, if the team supports you, if sometimes you are motivated enough to carry on. Because let's face it, corporate life can burn you down. Yes,
Yeah.
you can be burned out.
Exactly.
Lots of workers suffer from burnt out. They
Yeah.
work hard, they don't feel appreciated, they're not getting promoted, they're overlooked for promotion, they don't get on with the team or the team leader, which is the worst possible case scenario, I would believe. So you need to carry on anyway, and you can practice your resilience by developing your escape routes, your exits. If you don't feel like working in the corporation anymore, don't leave immediately.
Yeah.
Start developing some new passion, new hobby. Maybe you can join some public speaking club, for example. Maybe you can start your own podcast, but start to try new things in your free time. Don't make those excuses. Oh, I'm so tired after my work that I don't have time and energy for doing anything else. Don't become this person. Try to do things anyway. Maybe get a new degree. Go to university to study something more, yeah? I've been working for one of the big four companies.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it was pretty demanding, intense, stressful job. It was.
Yeah.
But I pushed myself to prepare myself for something more, that you can lose the job at any moment.
Yeah.
Because you're not irreplaceable at corporation. They can replace you like this. Yeah. You know, the situation may be that your team leader, for example, somebody else is your new team leader, they don't like you for many reasons, and then can try to push you out of the company. So what would you do if you didn't practice, if you didn't develop any skills, any additional skills you have? It would be more difficult for you. So start preparing something new, take up some new hobby, go for that. So in case something doesn't work out, you are burned out, you can always leave and start a new path. So resilience, be resilient. Yeah.
This is the one final question. So your friend is scared to start. You have 10 seconds. What do you say?
Once again,
your friend is scared to start.
Scared. Okay.
You have 10 seconds. What do you say?
I believe in you. That's the most, this is so simple, guys. Really, it's so simple. But I remember the situation. Oh my gosh, I got emotional right now. But I'm the human being, so I'm very proud of showing the emotions. But yeah, when I remember when I got my first failure in my business a few years ago, when I started my business, so it was difficult and to move on. And one of the most important person in my life, my mother, told me, "I believe in you."
Mm.
It was the first time I heard those words from her, and I hadn't heard it before from anybody. And when she told me that, it was powerful. So if I see my friend who is scared, who is anxious, who doesn't want to go, is doubting himself, herself, I would say those three words. I believe, four words. I believe in you. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. That's really nice. I'll take that. I believe in myself.
Yes. Tell it to yourself, first of all.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
exactly. Exactly. Thank you
Oh my
so much.
gosh, I
Thank you.
felt inspired.
Thank you so much, Mashi. Thank you so much for sharing your
We are
story, coming
finishing.
here.
I
Yeah,
just
like
started.
so thank you so much. Like it's really such an honor to have you, and thank you so much for sharing your story, insights, and humor with us today. Because the one thing, like your journey, like remind us all, whether we are learning a new language or stepping into unfamiliar career or chasing a dream, that persistence, courage, taking that small consistent step, as you mentioned during our conversation, are what actually shapes success. So, to everyone listening out there, your story matters, your journey matters, and sometimes the greatest lesson happen behind the curtains in moments that no one else sees. So, this was Life Behind the Curtains. So, today we learned that even when the world doubts you, even when the path seems impossible, you can create your own voice, your own stage, and your own success. So, that's me. So, signing off from Life Behind the Curtains. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
So,